Yo, my name is Cody and I'm kinda crazy and I don't have a baby except for a motorcycle named Daisy and I'm not a good rapper, I'm not good at this, so I'm just gonna go on with the review. Give me a diss. In the Heights is a brand new musical directed by Jon M, who directed movies such as Crazy Rich Asians, those Justin Bieber concert movies, whatever they were, and G.I. Joe Retaliation. He's had some misses. Couple of hits though. So this is an adaptation of the Broadway musical that was written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, the guy who created Hamilton. And this was actually written before Hamilton ever was created, and is now just finally making it to the big screen after the success of Hamilton. So I have never seen Hamilton. It's just not really my cup of tea. Till someone tells me I really need to watch it, I don't think I ever will. I'm also not a fan of the whole rap, singing, talking thing that kind of happens in that musical. I've heard bits and pieces and no, it's just not for me. Also, Lin-Manuel Miranda was in the movie Mary Poppins Returns, and he does a little bit with that sing rap stuff. And that for me was like one of the worst parts of the movie. I'm just not a fan of this. It's really cool how fast he can like rap like that, but for a musical, it just doesn't really work for me. So immediately going into this movie, I was a little apprehensive because I wasn't a fan of that sing rap, whatever you want to call it. So going in, apprehensive. I went in and I'm pleasantly surprised. First of all, this movie is about essentially we have our main character, Usnavi, who is this New Yorker in Washington Heights, and he dreams of a better life, essentially. There's a couple other characters that are inserted throughout the movie, and they have their stories and their arcs, but essentially the main character is Usnavi. I can't even say his name. Usnavi, who has this dream to move to the Dominican Republic, where he was originally from, and rebuild his dad's bar that was destroyed in a hurricane. And I really do like the idea of the message in this movie being about following dreams and dreaming big. I did like that aspect of this for sure. Another thing about this musical is it's very bright and very colorful. The cinematography in this movie is absolutely fantastic. There's some really great shots of musical numbers at pool, for example, in Washington Heights. The entire movie does take place in Washington Heights, but like in the streets of Washington Heights, there's a sequence on the side of a building that looks fantastic. So the movie looks fantastic. The sound editing, the sound mixing, all of that is really great in this movie. The dancing choreography in this movie, there's some really impressive dance numbers in this. It had to have taken a lot of time to put all this together because there's a lot of people doing these really great dance choreography. So the musical aspects of this is great. There is definitely some of that talk rap stuff that I was talking about that I wasn't a fan of. And at the end of the day, it's not the whole movie. There is some actual regular singing and such like that. And it didn't bother me too much. It still, there are moments where I wanted it to end with the talk rap, but for the most part, I enjoyed the musical numbers. As far as the musical numbers go, I can't say that I remember a single one of the songs. I went and saw it last night, and I can't tell you, I can't hum any of the songs. I can't give you a lyric of any of the songs, and that for me is a little bit of a problem. If I'm going into a musical, I kind of want to expect that I'm going to fall in love with the song and want to go listen to the soundtrack immediately after I'm done. And I just didn't with this movie. I heard it once, called it good, is essentially kind of my thoughts with it, is I don't need to go back and listen to the soundtrack. It's not one of those movie musicals where it's wall-to-wall singing. It definitely takes breaks. There's talking throughout it, but it does have a lot of singing in it. It's definitely a musical. If you're not a fan of musicals, you're not going to like this one. The acting in this movie was really great. I did enjoy everyone's character. I didn't think there was really a character in this movie that shouldn't have been there. I think everyone had a really great role, a great arc. The character with the least amount of screen time that probably doesn't 100% need to be there is Corey Hawkins' character, Benny. He's kind of just there to kind of move the plot forward at times. but he still does have some great moments, and I liked his character and the things he was doing and saying. Uh, there's a lot of comedic elements to this movie. I would say this movie is actually pretty funny at times, and I think a lot of it is due to his character. And I did like that aspect of it, so I wouldn't say it was completely wasted, but his character just didn't have as much to do as a lot of the other people in this movie. Now, as far as some negatives with this movie, the movie's almost 2.5 hours long. It's 2 hours 23 minutes, and it is a tad bit too long. The beginning of the movie starts out really great, and then there's kind of this lull in the middle. It just kind of slows down, and there's not much happening. There's things going on with the characters that we find out at the beginning of the movie, but nothing never really moves forward with those things really until the last half of the movie. So the ending could the middle almost for me could have been cut down. I think this movie could have been 2 hours very easily. So because of that, it did bore me at some times, and just some of the things that are in there are a bit fluffy. And I do have to say, the plot of this movie, there's not much that happens. It's just people hanging out in Washington Heights. At the end of the day, it's them kind of like dreaming and hoping for better things in their life. And there's just not much going on. So there are moments of this movie that it did bore me a little bit. I think if you are from the Latina culture, you're really going to appreciate this movie. I think if you're from Washington Heights and you understand all the things that go down in Washington Heights and understand all the cultures there and how everyone goes about their life, I think you're going to really like this movie because it's what your culture is, and you think you might really like that. An example I kind of want to give is Black Panther. When Black Panther came out, I thought it was just a good Marvel movie. I didn't think it was anything amazing. I did not think it was Best Picture worthy like it was that year, but I can understand why everyone freaked out about it. First billion-dollar African-American-led superhero movie. And I can understand why it's a big deal for people. So for me, this musical is nothing huge or spectacular. I enjoyed it. I watched it. I enjoyed myself. But at the end of the day, I can't see myself going back and rewatching this movie. It is a movie that should be seen on the big screen. I was very happy to say that there was 25 people in my theater watching this movie. I'm happy that HBO Max isn't fully getting everyone to watch it, since it is available for free on HBO Max. I'm happy to say that 25 people went out to the theater, paid to go see this movie. That's something I'm really happy about. But at the end of the day, this movie for me was just, it's good. It's really great. Technically, it's fantastic. The musical numbers, the costume, all the colors, the cinematography, all that kind of stuff is really, really great. But for me, the musical numbers weren't memorable. The movie's way too long. And I just can't see myself going back and rewatching it. So for me, I'm going to give this movie a solid 7 out of 10. Like I said, it's a really good movie. For me, it wasn't my kind of cup of tea. It was something that was a little bit forgettable for me that I will not see myself rewatching anytime soon. So what did you think of In the Heights? Comment down below, let me know. I'll see you next time.